Alright, so I was going to do a review of since it got released today, the review of Hellboy the Crooked Man because it was over on Amazon, but then I saw you couldn't rent it, you had to buy it for $20. And knowing that movie was not going to be good, I was not going to drop $20 in the midst of a fucking encroaching hurricane. So I will review the movie at some point, because I do want to watch it out of morbid curiosity, and I've been on a streak of bad movies as it is. Might as well keep that shit trend going. Keep that turd train a-rolling. I will hold off until later. But I figured, since it is still spooky season, and I figured it wouldn't hurt to have a Hellboy review anyway, I thought I'd do a review of Hellboy Masks and Monsters. Hellboy Masks and Monsters, this trade, as you can see, was well loved. I got it off of Thrift Books, which is becoming a new addiction of mine. He's a little well loved. But Hellboy Masks and Monsters is it's not really a story arc. It's more of a collection of two separate stories, two separate crossovers, as you can see, with the two crossovers being with, well, technically three, but it's basically the Hellboy Batman Starman crossover and the two-part Hellboy Ghost crossover. I kind of wish we got more of these Hellboy collections, because there aren't really a lot of Hellboy crossovers, and a lot of them aren't very long. Like, there is, Hellboy Fearless Dawn, which I think was only one issue. There was Hellboy and Savage Dragon, which I own, and that's only a one and done. There's the Hellboy Beast and Burden, that's one and done. There's also Hellboy Painkiller Jane. That's a one-shot. There's no, the longest... These are the longest of those crossovers. This is a two-parter. So I don't know if that says something or not, but, we haven't never really got... As to my knowledge, we've never really gotten, a solid mini-series of a crossover. I would absolutely love to have a Hellboy crossover collection book, involving, again, I have Painkiller Jane and Savage Dragon, but it would be kind of neat to own, the Fearless Dawn or Beasts of Burden one in a collection. And it would also be kind of cool to have all the, for other people who weren't able to get those books, just to own those crossovers. But anyway, so this comic, like I said, is dealing with two separate team-ups with Hellboy. The first one we're going to talk about is, of course, Batman with the crossover with Hellboy and Starman. You may be wondering, why the fuck is Starman here? Well, it's because this comic was drawn by Mike Mignola, but it was written by James Robinson. James Robinson had, back in the 90s, 2000s era, was killing it on probably one of DC's best books, and they keep doing omnibuses. I swear to God, every year it's a new deluxe omnibus of his run. His Starman run is credited as... James Robinson's Starman run is credited as one of the greatest comic runs of all time. That's, it's scientific fact. So, yeah, when James Robinson was going to do this, I'm sure, it was going to be initially just a Batman-Hellboy crossover, but then James Robinson was like, what if we added Starman? And everyone was like, well, we can't stop him, and that the Starman comics are really fucking good, so... Alright, James, fucking put him in the book. Anyway, so the story is that after Batman is unable to capture the Joker, he is met with Hellboy, who is like, look, there's this Nazi cult that's around, can you help me? And he's like, sure, I'll look into it. And this Nazi group is the group called the Knights of October. And basically they've captured Ted Knight, the original Starman, and intend to use him to unleash an Elder God. So of course Starman shows up as well. This really just kind of feels like Batman was thrown in here for marquee value, because this really does feel more like Hellboy and Starman's story. It's a two-parter where Batman and Hellboy team up to fight the Knights of October, then the second part is with him and Starman. The comic really feels disjointed because, we start with Batman trying to find Joker, and then we forget about Joker, and then Joker comes back, and Batman's like, I gotta go stop the Joker. And then it's Batman Ex Machina to rescue everyone at the end of the comic, and it just stops. It's a weirdly disjointed comic, but at the same time, you can't go wrong with Mike Mignola drawing, Batman. For the life of me, seeing Mike Mignola drawing Batman is always a good, it's always a good fucking excuse. Anyway, So it's a little disjointed, but I like that story. The second story is with Hellboy Ghost. Ghost, for those who don't know, is one of the originally created Dark Horse characters in the city of Arcadia, along with another character called X, and a few other characters. But Ghost was one of their more popular heroes, and actually had a crossover with Batgirl. In this story, what happens is that the BPRD are looking for the Ghost. That's what she calls herself. That's what she's called. They look for Ghost and try to find her and bring her back to the BPRD to see if they can help her. Unfortunately, she's not in the helping mood, and Hellboy and her and Hellboy get thrown into another demon cult that was spawned back in the 1930s through a spell, and then they end up in a world of Babylonian gods. It goes from 0 to 100, and I feel like this story could have survived with at least one more issue, but I guess, like, hey, like Mike Mignola's like, hey, the furthest you're gonna get is 2 issues. Yeah. These are fun crossovers, and the books are getting harder and harder to find. At least, well, I have heard there's a hardback reissue, but for the most part, I thought the DC Dark Horse crossover collections would be forever. Nope. So, if you can find this, get this now. Anyway, so if you're a Hellboy fan and you want to see like him with crossovers, which are shockingly few and far... Oh yeah, there was the Goon one in the Goon issue 7 and Next Man. I forgot those crossovers too. But Hellboy hasn't really had a lot of big crossovers. The one I'm really hoping for one day we get is Hellboy, and the more I think about it, the more I want it, is Hellboy Usagi Yojimbo. And hopefully after the Usagi Power Rangers crossover, maybe one day we can get the announcement for a Usagi Yojimbo Hellboy crossover. Dark Horse is two of Dark Horse's biggest pillars in their wheelhouse that they still have. Although that one, Usagi kind of banties between Dark Horse and IDW sometimes. I guess there's like a joint partnership because it's Stan Sakai's character directly. Anyway, I'm rambling now. But yeah, here you go. Go check out this book. I recommend it. But I would say probably get it at a discount price if you can. I got this for like, I don't know, I think $9. Like I said, he's a little bit well loved. Anyway. So yeah, if you've read these 2 crossovers, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of them. Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.